Hey, Orchinistas! Welcome back to my channel. This is Tracy here at Forever Orchids. We recently did what did I call it? A Grooming Rescued Orchids Part 1. Today is Part 2 of that orchid rescue. So I've got about 6 plants here that we're going to talk about. Depending upon the time, I might need to break this up into a Part 3 because there are so many orchids. So let me start with the first orchid for this video was the last one that I talked about in Part 1. It's a Brassavola nodosa. And let me show you the pictures of this poor baby. Okay, it was in a slat basket. It was totally dead, all except for 2 small leaves and about 2 1-inch to 1.25 inch length roots. What I have done with the plant so far since I have gotten it is every day I would spray with a spray bottle of water the roots until I had a chance to get to the plant and do with it what I needed to do. So what I've done so far with this plant is I have it in a drink cup, a plastic drink cup with some sphagnum moss in the bottom. I went ahead and cut off the new, I'll call it the new growth, the only growth that was on the plant. And here it is. This is so tiny. Look at that little baby. Now, it's been in the cup for about a week. The cup's purpose is to provide extra humidity around the plant. And I have noticed today when I watered it that it has 2 new root tips growing as well as a new growth. So there's hope. There is always hope. In any situation, in any circumstance, there's hope. Now, what I did today in watering it is I decided to soak the whole thing in sea kelp extract. And I decided, normally what I've been doing is watering the leaves, watering the roots, and then I might have maybe put the roots in sea kelp once since I've had it in the last 2 weeks. Today I soaked the whole thing for a few minutes. That way the leaves here could open up and get some of that nutrients from the sea kelp and get the sea kelp just provides an extra little kick there for the growth hormones. And so we're going to keep an eye on this. This is Brassavola nodosa Susan Fuchs, which is an FCC from the American Orchid Society. It's the highest award you can get from the American Orchid Society. That is crossed with a Brassavola nodosa Mendenhall, which has an AMAOS. So when I saw the plant as dead as it was, and you saw the picture, I posted the picture right here. You saw it. It's already been up. It was in bad shape. So I'm not guaranteed that anything's going to happen with this plant. Supposedly nodosas are easy to grow. The first one I've had in my collection. I've got some hybrids in my collection, but this is the first nodosa that I've had. So we're going to see whether it grows and keep an eye on those roots. That's really encouraging. Keep an eye on that new growth that is coming out, and I'll keep you updated on that over the next few months, and let's see if we can't grow this up into a wonderful blooming size plant. I just feel like with the awards that the parents had, this should be a really good cross. Okay, what was next? Okay, ta-da! Bifoliate Cattleya. No ID. That was one of the reasons why they were getting rid of it. They are reassessing their orchid collection, and over the many years that they've had orchids in their collection, they have lost tags. It's a public garden space, so when people come into the greenhouse, they might pick up a tag and go, oh, that's what that plant is, and then forget to put the tag back, or they might put the tag in a different plant. So this is one of the no IDs that they had. It is a division. I can see where it was cut right here and planted. The only thing that's on the tag is it was repotted in April of 2022. That's all that's on this tag. Now, I have a suspicion of what it might be. At the greenhouse right now, they have a Cattleya landate, That's a primary hybrid between two species. They have that in bloom right now. And I just repotted a division of that plant. So when I go back next week, I want to see if the pseudobulbs look really close and similar and the same. That's not to say that's what this plant is, but it could be. It could be. This is the latest growth on it, and it has one leaf, and it has, let's get it turned around here so you can see, a flower sheath right here that has another flower sheath inside of it, double flower sheath. The only cattleyas that I'm aware of that are species that have that is Cattleya labiata and Cattleya, and I think it is the Warneri. I think that's how you pronounce that one. If there's any others that you guys know about that have a double sheath, let me know in the comments, because I'm starting to learn more and more about bifoliates. I've primarily had unifoliates in my collection. This is a true, well, should be a true bifoliate, and here we go. We have a unifoliate leaf. So what we're going to do to groom this so far, I have staked. This is the way the plant came, okay? So I have staked up an old back bulb here. Now the reason why I'm staking these is in my growing environment, my growing space, I'm limited. So I can't have a whole bunch of cattleyas or plants. You can't help the phalaenopsis, but the cattleyas, you can help them to just fall and go everywhere. Now, I'm learning some of the Brassivola hybrids. They do have a tendency to fan out, which I think is beautiful on the plant. But a Cattleya should typically grow upright. Now, it's going to be hanging on a tree in nature, but for the most part, the pseudobulbs are going to grow towards the light. At some point, this was probably in a shaded area. It could have been shaded by another plant. And so the only light that this growth could find was working its way through another leaf of another plant that was close by. So we're going to stake it today as grooming so that in my environment, I can get it on the shelf, more space. So this is the pseudobulb that I can tell bloomed. So this is the mature size of a pseudobulb for this particular Cattleya Alliance hybrid or species, don't know what it is. This is a new growth. Now look here. Taller, shorter. New growth didn't reach the same height. And this is definitely looking at the rhizome. This pseudobulb right here came from this growth. Cattleyas are sympodial orchids. And what that means is they have a rhizome that will grow and move across the trees. Your phalaenopsis is a monopodial, and your vandas are that way too. They grow upright, monopodial. And the cattleyas, their rhizomes just go all different directions. But typically they will a lot of times follow kind of a straighter path. So I have lost my train of thought. Does that ever happen to you guys? You lose your train of thought? Of course it does. We're all human. Of course that does. Okay, I don't need to do that one quite so tight up against there. Give it a little bit of breathing room here. But I'm just going to stake this here. Okay, we've got dead bulbs here. You know, I could cut those off if I wanted to. They're not really harming anything. They're within the confines of the pot. Let it be. We'll figure this out at another date. Hopefully, we'll get some new growth coming out of that. I've been, I think this has at least had one soaking in the sea kelp extract. I do that with any plant that comes into my environment because the plant is stressed when it comes into the environment, and therefore I want to give it some nourishments that will promote some new growth, promote some roots, and it eases the stress on the plant. This is what I was getting ready to say. I remembered it now. This plant, because it is, or this pseudobulb, because it is shorter, this pseudobulb is telling me we didn't get enough nutrients when we were growing because it's shorter. And that could be I mean, even though it's got a flower spike, which, you know, to me is a little, I mean, it's a mature plant. So anyway, anywho, we're just going to make sure that we get the next pseudobulb that grows to be taller than this one. That's my goal. And I don't know where that pseudobulb will come from. It does appear this pseudobulb that both of its eyes grew pseudobulbs here, and this one is died off. That's what it appears to me to look like. Let's see if that's a root there. Nope, that was another pseudobulb. Yeah, it's been stressed for a while here. So this eye here, I mean, now this pseudobulb has another eye down here that grew, and that just didn't do well. I don't know about this, guys. I don't know if I can save it or not. We're going to give it good chance, and we will see what happens with this unidentified bifoliate. Alrighty, the next one that I got is a cross of an SLC Orchids Early Harvest crossed with BLC Bouton d'Or. That's what the tag says. Now, I've researched this, and I found out that this plant has been named. It is and I hope I can pronounce this correctly, Rincatlinthia? Linthiae? I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Peach Harvest is the name. So we can assume this is peach in color. I'll put up pictures of Orchids Early Harvest. I think I found one online. BLC Bouton d'Or is a solid con color yellow. So if based on the word early harvest, I'm suspecting that's kind of in the orange family, the golden yellows, the oranges, and then peach harvest is going to be obviously a lighter peachy color. Now, this particular plant, this is the pot it came in. It's planted in sphagnum moss. I don't grow my cattleyas in sphagnum moss. I grow them in bark and clay pots. So as soon as I'm able to, I'd like to get this out of all of this moss. Now, the plant, this pseudobulb here and the new growth, they look great. Nice plump pseudobulb here. So the sphagnum moss is not hurting it. It may actually be helping keep this pseudobulb plump. In fact, all the pseudobulbs look plump. They look really good. Maybe we'll test. Maybe we'll do an experiment and repot this in some new sphagnum moss and see what happens. Now, if this is planted in sphagnum moss, I would not water this every week because the sphagnum moss indoors has a tendency to stay moist longer. I find that with my phalaenopsis, especially the phalaenopsis that are in bigger pots, the centers don't dry out. So I do not water my plants in sphagnum moss once a week. I need to test the sphagnum moss first to determine whether or not I think it's due for watering. Maybe 10 days, maybe longer. Okay, now this particular plant, look at all of the black here and all of these spots everywhere. Scale damage. Yep, that scale damage. I'm hoping it's not virused. This leaf here is a little suspicious there with it being kind of splotchy in color, but the newer growths here are perfectly fine. There's nothing going on. There's like one spot here on the tip of this leaf, but the pseudobulbs and everything look really good. So not sure, but the scale damage definitely is evident. As I've mentioned before, this greenhouse that I volunteer at, during COVID, I'm sure many public gardens, they had issues with the employees couldn't go in. This particular place, they were only letting people in alternate every other week. So if the greenhouse manager was in 1 week, well, then he wasn't there for 2 more weeks. So that's a great time for scale, just the life cycle of that, just pop out everywhere. So they've definitely over the last several years been fighting that, eradicating it, and anything that we see on the plants that I've gotten so far, as long as I can scrape it off, I know that it is dead scale. And that's what we've been finding as we've been going through the collection. And they've been assessing the collection and deciding what they were going to be selling off and what they're actually going to keep. A lot of things, no IDs. They were trying to get rid of those. So anyway, so that's what this one is here. We'll keep you updated on that, on Miss Peach Harvest there. I haven't found pictures of Peach Harvest. I've only found the name of it. So I don't know what the flower is going to look like. We're just going to have to wait and see. All right, the next one that I got is the Alisaria Stellar, and the clonal name is Hoku, Hoku. And as I always do, if you follow along with me, you'll see that I always put up the name of the plants. A lot of times I'll put up the cross of the plant, the named plant, and I will put up a picture of the blooms if the plant's not in bloom already. So this one here, I don't have the Oncidium Alliance in my collection. I used to have a Sherry Baby years and years ago. I have had another when my daughter, let's see, that would have been about 26 years ago. I had another Brassivola, not Brassivola, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was in the Oncidium Alliance. Anyway, it's been many, many, many years since I've had these in my collection. I have one now. It's an Alisaria that is just a seedling, but I wanted this one because it's an actual mature size. So what I've done with this one so far is it had a bloom spike. It was dead bloom spike. And so I just went in and cut this off down further than what it was. And when I did that, I noticed mealybugs. Even though they're spraying in the greenhouse, mealybugs, that is so hard to, when they'll get down in between the leaves here. See, these just kind of open up and they kind of cup around and cradle the pseudobulb, and it's very difficult for the chemicals to get down that they're spraying. I don't think they're doing a systemic. I think we were talking about that yesterday, that I think they're just spraying the orchids instead of using a systemic. A systemic would be a little bit better, because then it would be, if the mealybugs do get down way down in here and they bite into the tissue of the plant, they would end up dying. So anyway, I have top dressed the roots here with some sphagnum moss. This is growing in bark and sphagnum moss, a lot of algae, and the tag says it was repotted in July of 2022, so about a year ago. I have noticed in down here that I'm not sure. I'm going to suspect this is a new growth because how wide it is. Look at this new growth right here. You see that? So that, to me, I think is going to be a new growth coming off of this pseudobulb. I would suspect that a bloom spike would be more cylindrical in fashion, whereas this is more of a cone shape, and it's flat right now. So I think this is going to be a new growth coming out on this plant. So that's really exciting here. Okay, we have two tags. Oh, okay, so it was repotted in September of 2021, and then it was repotted again July 5th of 2022. So there's the original tag on it from grower, or has a date on here too of I'm going to assume May the 18th of 2006. Maybe that's when it came out of flask. I don't know. Don't even know where they got this particular plant, if they bought it or if somebody donated, because a lot of people do donate their orchids to this public garden. Okay, so I think for time's sake, that will be it for, oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. I just got done publishing another Bag Baby haul. Yes, I did. I started getting text messages about 2 weeks ago that Lowe's Home Improvement in my area had Bag Babies. Somebody was asking me if I'm in search of an Awanaguara apple blossom, now called Jack Foliera apple blossom. I'd like a pink variety. The variety that I have growing under the windows here is yellow. It has not bloomed for me because I got it early May. as a bag baby. It's got new growth on it. It's doing really, really well. Pseudobulb's nice and plump. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, I just got done doing that video of the bag babies, and I've gotten more since then, about 2 more. I got a really, really large red Cattleya. I got it in a 4-inch pot. I'll put the name of it right down here because off the top of my head, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I had a friend of mine who is a master Cattleya grower. That's all he grows is Cattleyas. And he was texting me as well as another friend of mine, and he was like, you need to have this. You need to go get it. Well, I did, and I'll post a picture of what it looked like. Looked great until I got it home, and I got ready to water it, and it fell out of the pot. It only has roots this long. So I've repotted it into a clay pot and going to be giving it that sea kelp, get those hormones kicked in, and see if we can't get some new root growth going in it. Under lights, I think for the winter, I should be okay. It's not typically the growing season, but it is a seedling. So keep our fingers crossed. I can get some new roots growing on that particular Cattleya. So the other one that I got, I can show you right here, is a Procativola key lime stars crossed with BLC lime cooler. To my knowledge, this is not a registered hybrid as of yet, so it's just the 2 names together as a cross. And I've only found pictures of the parents. I haven't found pictures of the cross itself. But if you'll stay tuned to my channel, like and subscribe on my channel, we'll get to see what it looks like when it blooms, because it's in bud. I just bought this last night, and I decided to buy it when I saw the bloom spike. I was like, done, I'm getting it. Let's see what it looks like. And I thought it was really interesting too that it has a lot of new growth on it. There's some new growth here. I could see several new growths coming out. And this is just such a short little pseudobulb right here. Look, the pseudobulb comes to right here, and then the leaf comes out, but it has decided to grace me with a bloom. There is new growth right down in here as well. And I can see there's some other new growth down in here. In fact, there was this one right here. This one has a flower sheath, but it didn't do anything. Nothing came out of that one. So anyway, I'm really excited about this one. And so I would imagine in about maybe another week, 2 at the most, we should be able to see what this looks like. And I will definitely do a quick little video of what this looks like. Now, you can also check out my Instagram page. It is forever_orchids. And I will post pictures of orchids that are in my collection, as well as orchids that are at the 2 places that I volunteer at currently. So that way you get a broad spectrum of this orchid genius that we are all in love with. So we're going to do a part 3 of this grooming the rescued orchid haul. I have more orchids that I've received from them, purchased from them, but we're going to do the 3 that are over here in our next video. So I hope you will stay tuned. Until next time, guys, happy orchid growing. Bye.